Thank you so much, Chris. Yes, indeed. And this is the best way to start off. You know, one of the final days before the Boston Major is a good old matchup to decide who's going to winners and who is going to that elimination bracket. Jay, Seattle versus Røkkr. It's about to get crazy, my friend.
Oh, yeah, this one's going to be a spicy one because, you know, with Seattle having the worst start possible to stage 2, they still have an opportunity to make it in towards winners if they close out this series. And on the opposite side for Minnesota, you get a great win over Atlanta FaZe, but then you fall short to LAG, and now you're in a situation where you need to win this series or at least take a couple maps to make that winner's bracket. So it's all on the line for both of these squads.
Yeah, without a doubt. I know the desk touched on the scenarios, but just to reiterate them, if you are starting to trickle into the broadcast, Seattle, you win and you're in, you lose and you're not going to be there. For the Røkkr, it's a little bit of a different story. If they win, they're good. However, losses are a little bit of a different story. For Røkkr, basically what you need to know, if they lose 3-0, automatically end that elimination bracket. If they lose 3-1 or 3-2, there is still a chance. As we take a look at the season records here, Jay, there was one very glaring, I would say, statistic out of all of those that we saw for both of these franchises. And I mean, it feels like when we talk about any team who's facing off against Seattle Surge, it's always like, hey, you know what? It feels like they're guaranteed to win the Surge Destroys, especially if they're online. As we take a look at these again, man, 4-16. Good golly, that's bad.
Yeah, that's not good, Lando. 0-11, all online. The only 4 wins that they picked up were on LAN at Major 1. They've also had some really tough S&Ds, like the one yesterday.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That one was a really tough one. They were up 5-4. They go to around 11, and then unfortunately they all dropped and lose that one to New York. But if you are Seattle, at least you got the backbone in your hard point, because you got 2 dynamic players like the Des touched on in Pred and Simp. They have just been lights out in that mode, and with Simp playing the way that he did, especially in those 2 hardpoints versus New York, he comes in like that today. Yep. It's gonna be hard for Minnesota to try to take this one.
Yeah, it is. It feels like the bullet points for Seattle Surge is like, okay, S&D, especially online, is bad. But if you're looking at Seattle Surge, you got to be taking a look out for Simp and Pred, right? The sophomores coming in here to their 2nd season for Surge. Yesterday, Jay, versus the New York Subliners, they put up plus 52 combined. So that is absolutely terrifying, considering how great that New York have looked. The fact that they are defending Major 1 champions, those 2 guys have the potential to do that versus the best teams in the league. Now, if we toss it over to the other side for Røkkr, it feels like for Seattle, you kind of know what you're going to get most of the time. For Minnesota, though, it feels like it's kind of the opposite. Like, some days they're winning hard points, some days they're winning search and destroys, and some days Bance and Cammy are taking over.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. In that series versus Atlanta FaZe, it was all Bance and Cammy. And then even the last series when they played up against LAG, on the one map that they did win, Bance was the guy that took over on the map, went like 29-21, and thankfully that control is going to be into this series. Yeah. But when you ask me, when I think Minnesota are at their best, you know what you're going to get out of Afro majority of times. You know what you're going to get out of Attach. But when you get Bance to really step up to a whole different level, then that gets the game a lot easier for Cammy to play. I think Bance is completely the X factor for this team. When he hits his breathing exercises, when he hits his routes, shoots a couple people in the back, and he's playing at his tippity top form, Minnesota are tough to beat.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And this is kind of the major storyline around Røkkr even coming into this season. Was okay, totally new team. You got Attach alongside of the EU brethren now, and Afro, Bance, and Cammy. How are they going to play? It seems like we kind of know exactly where Afro sits, but even still yet, buddy, like we're in the middle, we're getting ready to close out our Major II qualifiers, and it still yet feels like we don't 100% know what we have here. Like, is it a team that's on the cusp of maybe starting to reach a contender type level, or are we watching a team that's just slowly starting to fall down the ladder a bit? And it's difficult considering that in this situation, at the Major 1 qualifiers, they had the #1 seed. Right now, they're just fighting for winners.
Yeah, it's because it's difficult with this Røkkr squad. We knew at least throughout stage 1, their search and destroy and their control was going to be able to get them through a lot of series. But so far in stage 2, 2 and 3 overall in S&D, the biggest thing that stands out when I talk about this Minnesota Røkkr squad in that mode is all about that first bloods. Whenever they get that first blood, a majority of the time they find success. But in the 3v4 situations, they are the worst team that we have in the league. So if you're losing that opening hard point, if you're losing your search and destroys, you could potentially take that game 3 3, but then you're going short in that map number 4. So if you are Minnesota, it's got to get consistent at least one of the modes and back into search and destroy where it was your bread and butter before, or at least get a little bit better at your hard points to where you're not always consistently losing map 1s.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I guess for Minnesota Røkkr, I did say coming into this, it feels like we don't really know what to expect, but sometimes it does. It almost feels like, hey, this is the plan. This is the way they get a series done. It's just a matter of being able to adapt, being able to apply all those principles. And I'm sure they are teaching consistently and constantly in all those team scrimmages. We talked about Bance. We're doing the breathing exercises. I'm seeing a bit of a bob of the head, Jay. I don't know what maybe an artist he's listening to right now. Give it a guess. What do you think?
He's definitely adapted. There's no music in his ears. He's absolutely locked in. He's going into a map that they have yet to play as a squad, and this is where it gets scary because Seattle on Mercado, they have a 3-1 overall record. They are the 3rd best rotation win percentage team, and they are the 2nd best at holding. So for a team in Minnesota who have yet to play this, you lose those spawns, you're going to be a step behind in the game, and Seattle are going to start to pull away with it. So you want to win your rotations if you are Minnesota.
Heard it from the man himself. I'll be honest, Jay, I think the Bance was listening to something. I think it was some mariachi music. As we
okay. Howdy.
Good old Mercado Las Almas. Say it better than me. Say it better than me.
Mercado Las Almas.
Oh, it's so crispy, Jay. The best way to start off a Sunday is hearing you say those very words. Right into the map 1 we go. Røkkr v Surge on Mercado. We fly. It's Seattle Surge starting off with the more preferred side. However, the battles are ensuing, and there's a lot of chaos quickly going around the map as Accuracy cuts down his first 2.
Oh, it's a lot of chaos going on, and Minnesota at least put a lot of pressure through back parking lot to where they were able to flip those spawns and take control of the side of the map that they want for the next hard point. So now if you are Seattle, you just want to slow this one down, trying to chain a couple kills together. Accuracy at least finds the first, is trying to find the timings, and Simp, once he finds that kill towards the back, that's going to be 3 dead all throughout the tunnel. Spawn should be able to flip.
Well, that was a big position there for Cammy already getting into this Mercado. Jay, oftentimes we talk about on this map specifically, you're looking at a lot of hills, but it feels like the easiest ones to point out are Cantina. We'll visit this one twice when it comes down to our rotation. 7 hills, and really 2 of those are going to be in this very location. Bottom and top. Tib trying to cut a few players down. Seattle looks to be in a good position. Now it's going to be on to Pred, who just falls off the 4 spree. Back and forth we go. Now it's Røkkr with time.
Oh, it's Røkkr with time, but Afro was the only player there. While all his teammates spawned all the way across the map, Seattle were able to hold on strong, get right back into the time. Actually picking up right where he left off. A little bit of assistance from Pred, and so far Pred started off this map 6-1. Believe it or not, this is the worst hardpoint map for young Pred, the rookie of the year. He has a .99 KD. He's already trying to change that story.
It's just a matter of time before that .99 just quickly elevates to like a 1.5 or something mad like that. But final 15 looked to belong to the side of Minnesota Røkkr, and is now going to be that rotation over toward 10. As we said, Minnesota, a great team when it comes down to rotations. That is what they have built the majority of their game plan on. But Jay, the biggest problem, just as they're breaking, they can get to these hard points first, but it's just a matter of clearing out the waves, as here comes wave number 1 for Surge, and they get wiped away.
Oh, they get wiped, and that's a 3-piece coming in from Bance. Big plays from Minnesota to also get that remaining 15 seconds off P2, because once you're in the rotations, now you give yourself a nice little comfortable lead to where you're able to read these plays. The snap right there from Afro. Insane stuff. And Minnesota is just doing a great job of soaking as much time as they possibly can. Bance finds himself on a 5, making a 6-3. Already a cruise missile to work with.
Yeah, this is great work so far from Minnesota. I mean, we're taking a look at the stat lines, and you got Bance piecing on one side. Already he's got that streak. You got Afro, meanwhile, who's already reached into double digits. The first player to do so. An engagement magnet right now is young Afro, as he continues to piece, he continues to fry. And Jay, it makes you wonder when you're seeing both the SMGs play like this, why has Minnesota not played Mercado more?
Oh, well, it's obviously they had the proper game plan, as they are just not making mistakes. A full 60 hold at 10. You win the rotation over to Barber. And one thing that I looked at when I was looking at the numbers for Seattle is that they always responded. Whenever they lost, whenever they had a hard point, went into their favor, they lost the next one, but then the following one was always the one where they bounced back on by winning that rotation. And so far, this is the first mishap where Minnesota were able to chain that P2 and already started off with some good P4 time, but the break comes in from Seattle through back alley. Now Minnesota have to slow down.
Yeah, and considering that score line, this is much needed time if you are Surge. You cannot allow for that time to go the other direction. They break exactly when they need to. In Barbershop, while it is a chaotic hill, so far it's really come down to just one team fight. And that is Surge getting back into this game little by little. Bance continues to poke away. Pred frustrated. Come here, Bance. That's 5 in a row now for Pred. As we said, Jen, that KD is getting better already.
Yeah, he's doing what he does, but it's just another Minnesota Røkkr. Winning rotations, attaching Bance, the last 2 players up. They're able to stay alive, find that 2-piece, control the spawns, and now force all of Seattle to try to execute a break once again. Great shots coming in from Simp. All out pressure coming through 10. Just have to hold your strong, hold your irons up if you are Minnesota. These gunfights are big.
Often we talk about the SMGs trying to lead the way. Oh, Minnesota, Pred with some crispy shots. 14 and 5. Continues on his spree. And Seattle, well, they found a few kills and they quickly just hop inside of the hard point. Pred tries to make a play. However, it's Bance on the other side. Accuracy has to get his hands dirty, but it's Mack who comes away with the gunfights. Trades, it looked like for a moment, still favoring Seattle, and now it comes down to a 1v1. 20 seconds to go. Simp, is he going to be able to take it? No, he does not. Bance, another crucial gunfight, big time still, going the way of Røkkr.
All right, Røkkr with the final 15 and winning rotations again. Now you're forcing Seattle to break one of the most difficult hard points that we have. You said it at the beginning, we have 2 hills in towards Cantinas. This one's on the second story. You have to check all your corners and clear out at least one alleyway to work it. They find the kill onto Cammy. Now all out pressure through backside Barber Alley. Only 2 players here from Minnesota, so you probably want to put the step on it right here. If you are Seattle, you can win the trades.
Mack having a bit of a slow game so far, but he absolutely can turn the tide of this game if he can have a break. But it's a Tad who combines for 2. Tad who combines for 3. It's a triple kill there for Dylan Price to level the score, to make things much easier on his teammates as the lead continues to build. And as we said, Jake, coming into this series for Minnesota, it doesn't necessarily have to be a W today to guarantee winners, but every map that they get absolutely helps their case. And right now, they are playing fantastic. And Bance, it's his turn now to go off again. 16 and 9 and getting closer to a 100-point advantage. Let's step aside and see how the comms are sounding with a very fiery Minnesota lineup.
Cars dead. On time. I'm watching RB one shot. I've got all you mean. Push out T. Push it for him. Yeah, he's shooting back. In swarm already. Yeah, come across.
Can we get time? Yeah, I've got your T. I'm on your T. Danny over T heavy.
I'm playing mid, Ben.
One small. T, oh yeah, small. One small.
One more, Fred.
Yeah, RB, come down. T is small, T is small, one shot.
Sips already. I need to
off those kills, come left. Off those kills, come left.
Listen, they're gonna play this.
I have your T. I still have your T.
Middle.
Right side T.
I'm so weak here.
Dead. Nice. Nice, I still have your T.
One more hit.
I still got it.
Mid.
I'm gonna go back to Marcus now. Ben, you hard play that. You do hard play that. I'm going back to Marcus.
Oh, okay. I'm right.
I'll play tunnel.
I'm right. They push up gate, man. No, yeah, he did. On new, Pred. In P1. He pushed tunnel. He pushed tunnel. Trust.
Nice
shit.
Watch on me.
I'm gonna hold.
Nice.
Dead. Last guy. Yeah, let's play this.
I
got your child, Dill.
Listen, I've got all your gates. I've got all your gates, okay? One's gone T on me.
Get in the right corner.
I can't see it. iBeZy, stay down. Just stay down.
Good shit.
I'm a trophy cam. Hold that.
Yeah. I'm on the right. Listen, I've got all your pinch and gate.
I have all your Zig, Marcus.
Yeah, I do. They're going right.
What is happening right now? That was like an 18-team streak that Røkkr just went on. Good God, Jay. We're talking about how they need to win a hard point, and right now they're basically putting Seattle in 100-point club territory. Afro's going on streak. Bance just went like 3 minutes without dying. This game is basically done.
Oh, Minnesota. They are just putting the pedal to the metal right now, Lando. After that P5 when they lost Courtyard, they haven't given up a single second. It was a full 60 hill at P6, top Cantinas, and a full 60 over towards the parking lot. When you allow a couple hills to get chained, this is a scoreline that you're going to have. So now if you are Seattle, has to be picture perfect from here on out.
Yeah, it absolutely does. A much more difficult task to accomplish without a doubt, especially with Minnesota firing the way that they are. Got to get a lot of love.
Jesus.
Everybody on that Minnesota team, but Attach just cuts one down. Cammy effortlessly finds the headshot. Good night to Mack and Pred. He has to back up. He has nothing to work with. A clean 4 down, and Røkkr, there you go. Clean as you'd like. And my God, for the first time playing Mercado, that made it look completely spotless. That is a statement victory to kick us off, Jay.
Oh man, they just played ahead the entire time. After that P5 hard point, actually even before then, when it all started at P2, when they found that final 15 seconds and then one rotation over towards P3, that's when they were able to get a nice little comfortable lead. And then you get over towards P4. They're gaining the junk time and they're winning rotations. Seattle just weren't winning gunfights in certain situations that eventually cost them certain positionings that allowed Minnesota to just start running away with this game. Said it before the series started. If Bance goes off, this team is literally going to be very difficult to beat. 21-12, 1 minute and 44 seconds in the hill. He goes on 2 different 7 sprees. Once the highest one was 11. Like he went 11 kills without dying. Minnesota dominated map 1, Lando.
At one point, they literally had like 15, 16, 17 kills in a row as a team.
It's like, just the game. Like when you're getting on a map like Mercado, when you're spawning out, the kills get super easy when you're fully set up. You know where they're coming from. You know how these angles are very difficult to attack. So when you're winning rotation after rotation, holding it down flawlessly with perfect communication the way they had it, you're not going to make any mistakes. That's what you're going to see at the end of the game.
Without a doubt, I tell you what, man, we discussed it. I mean, hey, Minnesota, a team that absolutely loves to rotate. They, you know, very good at it more often than not, and they completely did that. Thankfully, a lot of it was because of incredible slaying performances out of guys like Bance and Afro, and like everybody had their moment in the sun. But Jay, we got to give a lot of love to Benjamin. I mean, it's not even just been this hard point. He has been playing very, very well. As of late, he was one of the primary catalysts to the 3-0 victory over the Atlanta FaZe, and despite the loss versus LAG, still puts up like a 1.18 KD. Is it something, have you noticed anything different in his gameplay, like from an outside POV? Is there something that he's doing different lately?
I think the biggest thing when I'm watching Bance is like there's no hesitation to his game now. He's played the game for a couple months now to where he knows every little thing he needs to know. Where they're currently spawning, if I hit this route, what's the timing on me getting this kill or potentially shooting a player in the back? He has that all down pat. And when he's shooting as straight as he was in this map number 1, just because of his brain, he's gonna make the game super easy. When Bance understands the game, he knows the timings, that's when he's a totally different player, and it showed in that map number 1.
Yeah, and you can see on the other side what it means for the side of Seattle Surge. I mean, Jay, we talked about it coming into it. S&D, not great by any means. In fact, they've yet to win one so far. The reason why they've been looking so solid, just in general, I guess to start off the qualifiers, they haven't, but just in general, the reason why they've won maps is usually in the respawns. It's usually in the hard points. So a very scary start to this series if you're a Seattle fan, no doubt, knowing you're down 0-1. And if stats mean anything, which it looked like in the first hard point, it doesn't, Search Destroy is not going to go their way either.
Yeah, Search and Destroy is going to be tough, but I saw one stat that gives me hope. Okay, gives me hope for Seattle to be able to potentially take their first Search and Destroy. And it's because, like I said earlier, it's all about the first bloods, at least on the side for Minnesota, but it's also all about the first bloods for Seattle. This is the 11th and the 12th team in 3v4 win percentage. So it's like, if you get blooded on either one of these squads, you're most likely going to lose the round. So that's got to be the key to success for both of these teams. Get the first kill, stay alive, play your retakes properly, play your trades, and you will be able to close out the round.
It's so funny, Jay, because like, that's such a wonderful statistic, but it's also like, at the same time, like, so obvious, like for Minnesota and Seattle, it's like, yeah, you're losing Search and Destroys because you're in 3v4, just because you have a man down. Yeah, kind of writes itself. It writes itself. But I'll tell you what, this is hard to look at, Jay. Search and Destroy rank for Seattle Surge. Yeah, let's get that out of here. Not looking good. For those who already don't know about it, 0-11 in online Search and Destroys for Seattle. To be honest with you, Jay, I know we're going to be taking a lot of looks at the first blood conversation. I honestly just want you to point out, like, directly, whenever you see a mistake from Seattle Surge, somebody's got to figure out what is going wrong in their online S&Ds.
Someone's got to figure something out. And this is the right place to start it. As the nades come over the top for Minnesota, nothing connects on the cross. So now this is going to be able to allow Afro to get super aggressive up towards Tennis. Basically cut down everything, every player trying to close over towards B. But that's going to be Simp with that first blood onto Cammy.
Okay, there it is. You've seen it. Røkkr, typically, very much struggle in situations like this. Maybe it's because of playmakers. Oh, Pred, he's going to find another one. So situation quickly changes up a decent amount. Is now attached and Afro left in a 2v4. Afro's positioning over toward close. Tennis eventually does work out, trying to lighten the load a bit. And okay, there's a second pick as well. Attached. Desperate need to stay alive. Eventually does get pinpointed, all down to Afro now.
Afro in the 1v2. Dead silence is about to be earned. But the bomb is getting planted down towards A. You have Simp, who's watching the middle of the map. Nice little corner in towards Laundry. I think it's a couple sound cues, but the dead silence is going to be popped. Afro has the advantage. He has the VASDEV. He wins the one-on-one. 35 seconds versus Pred.
Yeah, you said this was the gunfight. This was the matchup to look out for. Two incredibly talented young prospects for the franchises. Who's going to walk away with the 1v1? Afro gets the info, and there you go. Takes down
1 HP.
A 1v1 and a 2v4 to kick us off.
Oh, man, 3v4, throw it out the window. How about a 2v4? We stand a better chance at clutching that one, especially when you got a player like Afro, who wins unbelievable gunfight after unbelievable gunfight. First one on to Simp, and then with 1 HP remaining, wins the gunfight versus Pred, and takes round number 1 from Minnesota. That kid's got some ice, man.
He does indeed. And this is just, I don't know, man. It just feels like after a hard point victory like that,
everything's different.
Number 1, yeah, everything's going right for him. And Afro is a scary player when he's got that momentum, without question. Sniper's already out here for attach. We talk about it so often. You got to have it here on aBeZy as he'll look to put the boomstick to good use. Simp at least stays alive to see another day, but Bance able to put a decent amount of shots. So Røkkr definitely have found a bit of information, but they are hesitant to make their way past that 50-yard line.
Yeah, they know. They don't want to give up that first blood. They're just going to take it slow. Try to see how their setup is going to work as attached with the reposition from Hedge towards top. aBeZy finds that first blood onto Simp. Now already in the man advantage is going to be Minnesota. Røkkr just got to eventually try to cross and get this bomb down.
Oh, back. This part a bit of body parts actually sprawled throughout the top side of the PD. Does decide to relocate and jumps out. Great timing. Finds Bance. Big question is, can he stay alive? Meanwhile, it's Pred on the other side who's able to drop a few. It's Mack who actually does get a team kill. And okay, another 1v1. It's about to be a headbutt. Cammy cannot grab it this time. It is Mack. Crazy rounds to kick us off, and Jay, first bloods mean nothing anymore.
Yeah, because both the other squads got the other first blood. This time it was attached onto Simp, and Seattle's able to win it. The last round, it was another first blood that came from Simp, but Minnesota were able to win it. So complete flip-flop to start us off in the search and destroy. But Mack, with that VASDEV in hand, finds the timing, takes the player off bomb, gets the unfortunate team kill, but at least finds a second, and then wins a huge one-on-one versus Cammy to tie it up at 1.
All right, well, all about the first bloods. Again, as we said, statistics, you know, we love our stats team. They do an incredible job, but sometimes God, it just doesn't do the thing. And around 3 we go. Shots exchanged, the whip will crack, and unfortunately for Simp, he does not see a plus 100 at the end of that scope. He's in around 3 we go. Same strategies coming out from Røkkr. They got Afro position up close over toward the Tennis, as he very well could enter into a scope near you very soon. I like the play. He's going to try to get Simp hunting, and he does. There you go. Røkkr found their pick.
Røkkr first blood. Afro aggressive once again through Hedge as Bance finds a second. Another 4v2. Just make sure we play our trades. Don't give up anything easy. They still have to plant the bomb on the side of Seattle. As Afro has all of B bomb cover. They have full coverage of A. Don't want to give up free one-on-ones as accuracy finds the first on the Cammy.
Minnesota, don't do this. Don't do this, Minnesota. Thank you, Afro. Puts accuracy to bed, and now it's Mack in a 1v3. 20 seconds to go. The only positive is I guess he does have the bomb on his back, but that's not going to be anything. That quickly hits the floor, and Røkkr will grab their second. And Jay, that was just great coordination. We really saw it. The observers did a phenomenal job of kind of highlighting. Afro waits to go around the corner until I forget who it was over at the ACs, kind of shows their POV. Sib gets distracted, and from there, finally a first blood works out.
That's just a perfect defensive setup right there for Minnesota. When you get Simp towards top AC, knowing that no one is aggressive towards B-bomb, then you get Afro, works his way all up through sign. Once he takes that position, you solely put your focus on the top windows and the bottom bathroom hop out to make sure no one pushes through middle alley. You just have one player watching towards street. It's a perfect play call right there for Minnesota. It's now going to lead to an aggressive attacking round. And unfortunately, Cammy doesn't get the first blood this time around. Goes to Pred 4v3.
Yeah, that's a struggled fight if you're Cammy. You just got so many POVs, so many players to look out for and attach. He's about to say the same thing. Misses that shot, has to get out of dodge. Does so, and does so effectively. Does he look to reposition? He's got to be careful, though, because Pred is hot on his heels inside of the office, trying to escape, and he stuns himself. That's never going to be an easy time. Oh, that snipe was decent, but just whistles past the boot there of Pred. 4v2, 20 seconds to go. Can Røkkr hold?
4v2. There's still no one on the bomb or near it, at least for Seattle. All you have to do is play these kills. Bance and Afro, they find two. Someone's got to stick it if you are Seattle. It's look like they're going to run out of time. The positionings are not going to be easy to take them down. And that's another 2v4 clutch for the Minnesota Røkkr. All on the SMGs, just knowing that neither one of these players from Seattle are near towards the site. Everyone is trying to hit towards the flank. By the time they get to bomb, there's only 15 seconds left to get that player off. The round's basically yours. Beautiful, beautiful adjustments right there for Minnesota to clutch on up.
Yeah, I said coming into this search destroy that I needed you to point out the mistakes that Surge are clearly making in their online SDs, but I
too slow. Sometimes too slow.
I feel like it's kind of obvious. Just when you have a 4v2, win the round. Okay, that's now two situations where that has been the case, and Røkkr will take full advantage of it. Surge, sure, it's going to be a little bit of a tilting start as Attach does miss the cross snipe that will allow for Seattle to quickly get that bomb down. However, Pred's not going to be there to see the future of it. Bomb does get planted. We'll see how Røkkr now look to retake.
Oh, and Røkkr, whenever they find first blood on defense, it's 100% on the retakes. As you see, Bance is slowly working his way in towards top PD, but no one is going to be in this position. If you are Minnesota, try to clear these angles a little bit quicker. This time is starting to tick. Simp finds one. Oh. Mack finds at least two. Now it's all left up to Attach with the sniper pistol. 20 seconds left.
A few seconds to go. Catches out accuracy. Beautiful shot there from Attach. It's Mack. Now just has to hold. He's going to do so. Attach will not be able to take him down at the end. Surge. Goodness sake, man. Crazy, crazy situations at the end. I thought that Minnesota were in such a wonderful position there at the end. They've got two players in top PD. You got two players in top ACs. And Surge, despite being low in numbers, managed to come away with the round.
Yeah, it was just right there, Minnesota. They're getting the information. We got the first blood. Most likely someone's going to be playing a clutch spot and towards top PD. But with no one there, they had no idea how Seattle was setting up around that bomb. It's a perfect setup for Simp to get that first player off the site, and then Mack with the follow-up two-piece to keep Seattle now down 3-2.
The look is getting here for Røkkr. Back on the attack they go, and Pred. Oh my gosh, just right up in your face. Right up in your face. Wins that first gunfight. Has got a bit of intel on the other, as it is a clean triple to start here for Seattle, and Cammy already out with the white flag. 1v4. Best of luck. He does have some time, but I guess he does have dead silence as well. Yeah, Pred, not a chance. Hat trick for him. Seattle right back in it.
So far, Seattle last two rounds have made the adjustments. They did not allow Afro to get pushed up on the defensive side towards Hedge by being super aggressive towards B. And this time they don't give up that free bomb plant towards B with the aggression from Pred. As the stuns come over, you slow those players down crossing towards the site. And you know when you find yourself in that position, especially for a player like Pred, he's going to most likely get that two-piece and get out with his life. Big plays from Seattle. Bring it back. Now 3-3.
I will say, I mean, Pred, looks like statistically, you know, he's at like a 0.99, I think, in Search Destroy. It's the highest right now for the team, but he's made some big plays. All right, into this round we go, and it's Cammy starting things off with the first blood. So Pred, life gets that much more difficult, and there goes Sib as well. This could be a very quick round unless accuracy and managed to find a pick. As we said, this game's all been around 2v4s. However, a 1v4 would be interesting. One of the faster rounds that we've seen in Minnesota are getting hyped. Bance trying to stay awake.
Another perfect setup right there for Minnesota. The nades come on the cross. You get the hit markers on with 2 of them. Get that first blood. And then once you spot no one else crossing towards sign, you know that they're trying to get aggressive in through the embassy building, trying to push out towards street. They're ready for it. Guns are ironed up. As they find all 4 kills. Clean round right there from Minnesota. 4-3.
Bance is cracked, Jay. He's not.
He's so locked, man. He's so locked.
We were trying to figure out what's been the difference maker. The guy is just locked. He just enters into this state of, I don't even know, just perfection. Not a blink, not a smile, not a smirk, nothing. Out of Benjamin. 4-3 for Røkkr, as you called it, buddy. And here we go. Afro and Pred. Whoever wants to shoot, just go for it. I won't say a thing. Bomb's about to get planted. Once that happens, Pred's gonna try to push through this door. Great cover fire there for Minnesota, as patience will pay off. Bance, after getting the bomb down, he's able to find one.
Wait a minute.
To begin to line up a few. He drops. And accuracy, he falls as well. Goodness sake, these rounds are fast.
Yeah, Minnesota's just taking it right to him. They said, we're going to cross towards this bomb. I know you shut us down last time because Pred caught us off guard by being aggressive through orange. But once you get Afro, that other dynamic SMG that's in this game, in that same position, watching that cut, as soon as that bomb goes down, Pred tries to get that player, but Afro's ready for it. First blood goes to him, Bance finds a second, and everyone else starts to drop for Seattle. Minnesota with the perfect game plan on a map that they haven't played in quite some time. Since December 16th is the last time they played Embassy Search and Destroy.
Okay.
And now at game point.
There it is. This is about to be 0-12 in online search destroys. We're about to find out. Surge, it just feels like maybe this is a round that they take. Try to make us sweat for it. We go to around 11. Okay, well, they start things off nicely. Bance is at least out of the fight. Afro is as well. God, Jay, I feel like we can't keep up. God, give me a break here. Attach 1v3, Jay, take it away.
1v3, all left up to Mr. Dylan Price. He finds the timing, finds the first kill off the Simp. Hold on. 25 seconds, he picks up the boom boom.
Boom.
Should be better for these long range gunfights. He spot smack. 20 seconds, 1v2.
Access, absolutely not. You think I'm going to try to challenge that? No way. Jose. All right, Seattle, they're still in it, Jay.
They're still in it. Minnesota right there, they tried to hit the switch up. They knew that the last time it was super aggression coming in from Seattle, and they got that bomb down for free. They tried to send 3 players through the flank. Then when Seattle opened up those first couple of kills, Pred being the guy to shut down that push on sign. Get that bomb down, you hold down your flanks, you win your gunfights. You don't ego chow attach right there. Good stuff from them to keep themselves alive in this.
Good strategy. Good strategy indeed. Do not ego chow attach. Grenades are out. Could that be the problem? Kick off this round. And yes, it will. Great toss there for Sib. So Røkkr, their objective man is down. Bomb in somewhat of an awkward position. And based off of that, really, you wonder where the pick's going to come in from. And thankfully, it's going to drop in there from Cammy. So they'll be able to find that one and attach. He'll just hop right on the plant, Jay.
Yeah, he just can't get this bomb down because look at the positioning right now from Afro. He's just sitting in towards orange. He's going to allow his teammates to get pushed up, but Mack super aggressive through mid planners, takes down attach. Now in the 3v2, Afro has to be the playmaker.
Oh, but Pred's able to find one. Simp comes down. Of course it does. To another 1v1. Afro versus Pred as he pops dead silence. Pred will catch him sprinting. Down 5-3. Seattle have come crawling back in hopes, in prayers of finally winning an online search and destroy. OT coming up. And boy, do they need this map, Jay, not just for confidence, but also when it comes down to the winner side at Boston Major.
Yeah, now it's 2 round 11s, back-to-back days for Seattle to potentially take their first search and destroy. Great first blood with that nade from Sib to at least give them the numbers advantage. Now going into the round 11, it's going to be Seattle.
Oh, that's not good.
Both of the squads 0-2 in round 11s. This time, no one's going to cross. No one's going to die to these pre-nades. They're going to slow this one down.
And Røkkr go for the full investment. They just initiate everybody over at A. They do have 2 players watching that cross. So Mack decides to get into a fight, he's gonna have to be incredibly careful. Because one of those players very well could be holding a sniper. Great pick coming in from Cammy. Simp's gonna have to sit this one out. And based off of that death, it's gonna be Mack who ends up grabbing the snipe, desperately looking for someone over toward the top side of the ACs. However, there is nobody there yet.
There's nobody there yet because they're just still holding down this cross. No need to panic. They have not taken anything on the map. Now he's going to get spotted. Now this is going to change their setup. What do they decide to do? Two players are going to wrap back towards back alley. The other two are going to push right up middle. This might work right in Pred's hands.
Oh no! Pred fires out a little too early. Trigger discipline not intact there. Bomb goes down. As we said, Seattle low in man count. Mack does get that bomb down.
He's on it.
Quickly hops in the defuse. Afro, perfect shots. The bomb is being defused. Oh no! It happens again. Seattle fought back down from 5 to 3. Get us to around 11 and still lose another search and destroy. Oh my goodness, another one, Jay. 0-12 in online search destroys now for Surge.
Man, that's so tough, Lando, because they fought tooth and nail to get back into this one. But I think the game plan for that round 11 was just a little too slow. The way that they got back into the game was aggression on aggression, finding that first blood. And you saw the way that Minnesota was set up. They were just playing for the cross. They had no one playing over towards that B site. Yeah. As Cammy found that angle towards top bridge, gets that first blood onto Simp. I just think if you're Seattle Surge, you got to just step up the pace of that one. Go get the bomb down, make the play come to you. And then you control your own fate, but unfortunately it does not happen.
In that final round, Jay, like Mack's getting the bomb down, like he's all by himself. You can tell he goes through the cross. He's trying to be aware of somebody top ACs. I mean, credit to the other two players, but it feels like Mack is literally out trying to do everything. And there's nobody around them. Utilize those two extra players that you have to at least make things a little easier, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, because keep in mind, they did get first blooded. So only one player is going to cross over towards the bomb and try to get it down. The other player is going to hold the middle alley, and the other guy is going to potentially hold the flank or sit in bottom PD. So Mack was all left out to himself. Once Mack loses that gunfight, you know that both of the rest of the players are from Seattle all the way in PD. You instantly hop that bomb. You will be able to close out the round. Minnesota just made the adjustments. They got what they wanted in that final round with the slow play from Seattle, and now they're up 2-0 in the series.
Up 2-0 in a big way. They close out that search destroy in round 11, and now things get a little scary. If you're a Seattle Surge fan, no doubt about it. We still got to talk about some seeding and how everything will look potentially when it comes down to that Boston Major. Make sure and stay with us. All of that talk and more is up right after this.
Røkkr got injured?
Upgrade your game with the Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Howdy friends, and welcome back. Minnesota Røkkr taking on the Seattle Surge to kick off this lovely Sunday. It is seeding Sunday, basically, when it comes down to the matches that we've got for you today. As I said before we threw it to a commercial break, when it comes down to seeding, Minnesota looks to be in a good spot. As we said, a W today puts them automatically into that top 6 position. Now, another thing, Jay, that we have to talk about is that these results also do affect other teams. You're in a pretty good spot if you're an LA Thieves fan, if Røkkr come away with this series. Why is that?
Oh yeah, if Røkkr come away with this series, if you're LAT, you win and you are in on the winner's bracket for Major 2. So right now you're holding your pom-poms up. You are LAT.
Fair fingers, Brad.
Don't allow anything to happen, because going into this map, Seattle Surge have quite an amount of reps on this. 11 times that they have played at Minnesota. This has been their auto veto for quite some time, and you see why as they go clean 4 dead, clean 5, and Seattle now have them in the bear grip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this looks exactly like how the records indicate. A lot of reps if you are the Seattle Surge. Been in this spot many times, but I don't know if they've started off a control round on Hotel quite this well. A nice little 5-0 answer. It's Mack who's currently making sure that those spawns come ever closer toward the backside of the bedrooms. The Røkkr are going to be here, and right now they're investing in the other 3 players to come away with these kills. Mack starts to move forward. The rest of Seattle Surge begin to press on in, and it's continued success. Jay, they have also still yet to die. Nobody drops in that team fight either. A perfect 10-0 beginning.
This is just a perfect game plan. Seattle consistently puts that towards kitchen. You're forcing them to spawn back plat. Goodness. You're playing your corners. You're winning every single gunfight. Finally, Cammy at least finds one, but he's eventually going to fall. There's nothing to show for it, as Mack at least is able on the pinch to continue to cut a couple of these players off, but this has been a flawless defensive round from Seattle. My God.
Yeah, this one's over, ladies and gentlemen. This one is about to be over. 27-11 in lives. Yeah, I was gonna say, for a moment, Bance thought he found a lane, I think, inside of the restaurant. He makes like 2 feet past that doorway and instantly falls. Yeah, it does not get much better than that if you are Seattle. So we're talking about seeding, we're talking about all of these things, and quickly I think the heart rates have raised for both fan bases in just a matter of moments. Jay.
Yeah, Seattle back against wall, man. You have to come back if you want to have a chance at winner's bracket in Major 2, and that's a good way to get the momentum on your side. Early dominant defensive round 1. Now to going into your attacking round, where Minnesota, they do tend to struggle on it. It all usually just comes down to the sling. Early pressure over towards this B point. 2 players going through the middle of the map as well. They're just trying to win these gunfights over B, get some early progression, and that's going to be 3 dead right off the rip.
Okay, well, perfection, it continues. Continues. Attacking round here for Seattle. Watch that point begin to fly. They've got 3 players pretty much stacked inside of it, unless Simp wants to continue to watch the pitch. He'll eventually fall, so that's 2 ticks in. Røkkr do eventually collapse, but you are not angry about that start by any means if you are Seattle, considering, well, Røkkr didn't get any ticks on their opening attack. So any segment is a good one, and right now Pred is continuing to piece, already up to 10-2 and right back on that objective he goes, or maybe he's just trying to hit her out. I think it's still up to him.
Nah, we're still slaying. Like right now, you can just tell 10-2 already to start off this control. He's feeling himself. He's in the groove. He's starting to understand these timings. B is gonna get done and dusted. Now Minnesota have a 2-minute hold over towards A if they want to take the round. This is where it's time for Pred to strike, but Afro gets the better of him with the belly flop.
I don't know how in the world Afro just managed to do that with his controller, but wonderful work there out of the young man. Great job from him. However, you definitely need some more kills. You need to get Seattle off of this subjective, and Mack, well, same scoreline that Pred had just a moment ago. The SMGs continue to light it up. Røkkr, they need an answer of some sort, and right now they just need a lifeline. Sib, the only player inside a restaurant, decides to push on forward, but as we know here on Hotel, Jake, the reason why that A side is so favored for the attacking side is because of how close those spawns can be. So Seattle gonna have quite a few members here and really at a rapid pace, but Røkkr, they continue to find those picks. It feels like the guns have finally started to warm up a bit.
Yeah, right there. It was good plays from Minnesota to completely disregard Sib and just focus on the rest of Seattle coming off the spawn. They maintained kitchen control. Afro Oh, cannot win the gunfight out to Pred, but he's always going to give himself an opportunity. That one got really close, but Minnesota so far have cut down a minute of this clock. Still holding strong.
Although it just feels like a matter of time so often on this objective when the defensive teams begin to crumble. Røkkr doing their best to try to prevent it the best way that they can. Get a few members, as we said, with those spawns being blocked. Great work from Minnesota, being aware of the map positioning. It is going to cause Seattle to have to rotate all the way through Minnesota's base. So Simp is back here and wait for a few of his teammates to eventually join him. Attach now starting to feel the pressure, starting to feel pressed. Has to run back inside of the restaurant. 25 seconds to go. He knows they have to go for the hit. Bad timing as Mack starts things up nicely. Clock's going to be paused as Afro gets traded.
Oh, Afro at least finds one, makes it a 2v2 in towards the point. Bance unfortunately can't find the kill onto Pred. Now it's all onto Cammy. You have to find this kill or the stack is going to be in. Seattle have 2 bodies on it. Simp is cutting off through mid carpets, and that's going to be the round. Seattle just needed one set of kills. Once they found that 2-piece and left the other 2 players to spawn all the way at Spa, the pinch comes in. You take down Attach. You find the kill onto Afro, and then the stack comes in towards the point. Great plays right there from Seattle to take the attacking round. Now 2-0.
Yeah, it's so often what we talk about in Control, right, man? It's like it's strictly just based off of that early team fight, right? Surge, they get those early 2 segments over at that B zone, just makes life that much more easy. They eventually allow for Pred to find the lane, and from there, the rest is history. Seattle felt like they had not really woken up when it came down to that first respawn. They finally make a comeback in the SD, but in Control, it feels like they have finally arrived, maybe being aware of what does sit on the line for them. As we said, that winner's bracket position, win and they're in. It had to be a reverse sweep now, but up the mountain they go. And right now, Mack is happy. Oh! Expedition. Good heavens. Now 6 in a row for Mackenzie. And it feels like Røkkr back in the blender already.
Yeah, I thought Minnesota, they said we're going to change the game plan up. We had no success over towards B. Couldn't even find a damn kill. So we're going to go over towards A, which is the easier point off the rip. But then when you're getting pieced apart by the SMGs on the side of Seattle, 18-7 for Pred, 17-6 for Mack. Now it's Pred's turn to do it in towards the bedroom. And that's another 2 dead, and there's nothing to show for it for Minnesota. 30 seconds left. You have to stop this clock. You have to complete one of these segments.
You can almost like just feel what the arrows are looking like on the minimap. It's just like, what do we do? Like, what do we do in a situation like this? Like, I just want to dolphin dive onto the point. And finally, there was a body on the objective. Hold on. There is a segment that could be going their way. Afro stunned, a little bit dazed. Bance eventually falls. The numbers continue to dwindle inside of the restaurant. Big battles going on across the map as it's Afro who falls. Attach has to win this 1v1. Able to do so. Time will remain, well, I'm gonna say a bit of a situation, bit of a barrier, if you will. Attach is gonna be on it, and there's only 1 player here to maybe try and contest this late. It's all up to accuracy. He falls, and this should be another minute added onto the clock.
It should be, but it's looking like Seattle are not going to give this one up for free. As Predator's just trying to find the timing into mid carpets, but it's looking like they're not going to be super aggressive in towards Diner. Time is going to be extended by a minute, but Seattle are up by 9 lives. You look at the positioning right now from Mack. As Attached with no dead silence in hand is playing for this kill. All of his teammates are dropping across the map. At least you take somewhat bedroom control, get those closer spawns to not push forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for Minnesota. Like, you're making some plays here and there, but you just got to stare at the top side of your screen. 8 versus 18 in lives. You've got 2 more good team fights at this, and that is it. But at least Bance able to start things off nicely. Tries to go for the initial challenge onto Mack. Has to stay alive. Lots of Røkkr players in very valuable positions. However, they begin to drop 5 versus 17. Might as well be a 100-point comeback in hardpoint. This is not going to be easy for Minnesota. 30 seconds still to go, and that timer may run out before they even can get there. Wait, however, there's a few. One more player here is going to be Simp. Jay, they found a few kills. They're on the point.
They found an opening. They found the opening. You just can't lose these gunfights. No more respawns for the players on the side of Minnesota. The 2-stack is going to be here. Bance wins the gunfight also on the flank. So all you have to do is hold your irons up, win these kills towards back Spa, but they cannot do that as Simp and Pred combine for 2. Pred finds the final, and Seattle Surge clean 3-0 in the control.
Oh, and Phoenix just rapidly comes out from the backside
Instant
of the barrier. hype after a 3-0 win like that in control. I mean, Jay, that's exactly what this team needed, honestly. Like, I know we're talking about, you know, they're down 2-0, you know, whatever it may be. They lose that round 11. They know that they know the records in Search Destroy as well. You needed something, right? You needed a life. You needed some momentum coming into a map, and they absolutely got it right there. A 3-0 bop over the Røkkr, and the score lines, goodness sake, are impressive across the board. But specifically 19-10 and the Mack. He at one point went on that 8 spree. Pred was having a phenomenal time on the hotel, Jay. He was bouncing all over the beds. Late checkout for him, 26-10. Impressive work there from the Aussie, as Seattle, it all of a sudden feels like now we're right back in this.
Yeah, this is the team that we saw yesterday when they went up against New York. When you allow the young players on the Seattle squad to turn up to a different level, this is what it looks like at the end of the scoreline in a respawn map and mode. Because now we go into another hard point where if you are going to be the Seattle Surge, it's going to be a hotel where you have quite a bit of reps on it. You played it a total of 9 times, going up against a Minnesota Røkkr squad who's only played it 4 times. So I just think the biggest thing that we have to take away that we learned about in map number 1 is that Minnesota, when they control the spawns, when they were the guys that were playing a step ahead, that's when they found a lot of success. And they are the #1 team going into that hotel hardpoint off rotation as well. So if you are Seattle, you gotta win a couple spawns this time around. And with the guns being warmed up as they showed in that last map, they're probably not gonna have a problem with it. I think this was going by.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's
backs against the wall. Like,
it's hard
Seattle need this for winners bracket. They gotta bring it back.
We're looking at just an absolute highlight reel of Seattle Surge. I cannot say anything to subvert that by any means. It absolutely looks like Seattle Surge have got something good going coming into this next hard point. But it is an interesting story. As we said, it's all about seeding here on this wonderful Sunday, the final one, the final day that we have before that Boston Major. Røkkr felt it. It felt like it could have been a 3-0 for them to guarantee that winner's bracket side. Seattle aware of the exact same thing, a win and in situation there for the Seattle boys as they wake up and now have got night number 2 at the hotel still to come back for us on. And Jay, if I remember right, we were talking a lot about the series yesterday, right? Seattle Surge, they upset the New York Subliners, win that in a 3-1. Hotel Hardpoint was also in that map set, and it was a very solid dub coming in from the Surge side as well. I want to say Sid finished off like 29-15. It was a crazy stat line.
I'm pretty sure the Des touched on it. Like, going into this map number 4 is statistically the best hard point for 2 players on Seattle, which is Sib, which is like a 1.8, and then Pred, who's like a 2.1 or something like that. Like, yeah. You gotta be feeling good if you're Seattle. You get all the momentum after the control. You're going into one of your strongest hard point maps with some of the best players on the map. So as long as you're playing ahead in this game, Seattle Surge, with the way that their guns are shooting, like I said in that last map, have a good chance of being able to force that game number 5. I just think the player that has to shut them down, shut down their game plan, is going to be nothing but Bance. Like we saw what he did in map number 1, 21-12, went on 2 7 sprees. One of them turned out to be an 11. When he's playing at the best, flipping those spawns for his squad, shooting people in the back with ease. Minnesota, it's going to be tough, man. They have the potential to close it out right here and make their statement as one of the tough teams still going into Major 2.
Yeah, it's a tough one. This Bance takes a quick little nap for a moment. We got to highlight it, right? I mean, it's another situation for Røkkr where a big situation comes down to a hard point. How many times have we talked about that with this team this year? How many times have we talked about that when it comes down to the Minnesota Røkkr franchise overcoming HP struggles? It feels like it's almost like a duo ship at this point in the CDL. Minnesota and Hardpoint, they're going to have to win 2 if they want to close things out here. If not, we've got ourselves a good old game 5 on Fortress S&D, which I don't know, record-wise, definitely favors
still feeling
them.
good.
Yeah, you're still feeling pretty good, but tell you what, man, with the seeding on the line, with winner's bracket on the line, it's a game 5. It feels like sometimes you cannot guarantee anything. But here we go into Hotel Hardpoint, game number 4. Another opportunity for Minnesota to close it out, and another chance for Seattle Surge to stay alive.
Another chance for Seattle Surge to try to force this game number 5. This is going to be Minnesota off to a better start because they start off on the better side and they're winning a majority of these gunfights. Now you just have to be careful. You want to maintain this left side of the map so you can spawn out towards P2 And with Pred being the cutoff man, he at least finds 2 of those players, release some of this pressure off towards P1. And now you're going to force Minnesota Røkkr to try to hit a route. And it's already going to be Bance that flips the spawns for Minnesota.
That is great work already here from Benjamin, trying to make the plays. Meanwhile, for Seattle Surge, you can still sit somewhat confident knowing that Pred stays alive on the map, goes top shelf, eventually does erase Afro. But as we said, it's about the spawn talk. It's all about those rotations. Seattle Surge basically just walk right through the front door. Into the lobby they go. And from there, Seattle looked to be in a great position as long as this gunfight goes their way. Afro's still alive. 1 player toward the backside. That's player 3 in Bance. He's able to stay up as well. So Seattle, they walk through the front door. Minnesota wakes back up, and now they've got the time.
Yeah, Bance just stayed alive the entire time while his teammates putting a lot of pressure through Sandy's side. They win their gunfights. They're able to flip this spawns. Now taking a good time off of this P2. Dre's going back and forth with the final 30 seconds to be here. This is the last push coming in from Seattle. They're not winning the gunfights. They're losing them all in the kill feed. Now it's going to be Minnesota with a nice little comfortable lead. Oh. You have to just win that rotation and next. Afro. My God, Lando. He doesn't miss.
He does not. It's pretty rare if Afro's in the middle of a gunfight and he at least doesn't hit you with a bullet. Guy is absolutely impressive. And on Hotel Hardpoint, he's got a nasty KD as well, a 1.29 on Hotel Hardpoints, and right now he's sporting a 3. Great work here from Afro as Røkkr, as we said, a team that at times does struggle with their breaks. It's now going to come down to one. Can they continue to cause some issues here for Seattle, or could this be the opportunity for them to get back in the game? Understandably so. We stay on the POV of Afro, able to erase Pred. That's now 3 in a row. Still waiting for a bit of teammate support. However, as soon as he hits the deck, he realizes there's nobody with him. Great hold there for Seattle.
Great hold right there from Seattle, the second best holding team that we have on this map. And it was all on the back of Pred and Simp. Pred with the pinch through middle, Simp the 2-piece through freezer. But now still pressure from here from Minnesota. They're able to execute the break from the front. Unfortunately, the trophy is too strong from accuracy. Takes down Afro. And now Seattle with a great hold on the P3 hardpoint. Going to be able to take the lead right on back. And it's Mack already influencing the spawns when he's pushed out towards back spa. It's now going to force Minnesota to continuously spawn over towards that jewel side.
One of those many plays that just don't always pop up on a stat sheet. We so often talk about the Seattle Surge, the slaying duo there of Sib and Pred, but without a doubt, accuracy and Mack, they've got their moments. And they're defining situations throughout a game. And right now we're seeing one. Mack with the early plays. However, he eventually falls. Now the pressure begins to fall into Lamar. He also does get found out. So Røkkr able to wipe away those 2 influential pieces, as now back to the gunfights we go. Right now it's Seattle without really a ton of man count. Preferred positioning, but not the members, not the man count to really do a whole lot with it. Sim eventually hops in. Sim will take down 2. Røkkr with the trades, a 1v1 for the time, and it belongs to Mack again. Some close spawns and a race toward next, but right now Surge look good to grab the final 15.
Yeah, Surge looked great. They were just winning the trade battle right there to eventually find the final 20 to 25 seconds and now grow this lead the way that they have. Now off the rotation, these gunfights are going to be big. This is going to be Minnesota fully set up in towards Diner. Afro finds the first. Afro finds 2, and Cammy with the 3rd. You win your gunfights. Now it allows you to get fully set up, try to get back into this one.
You can see the comms coming in from accuracy, just waiting for the teammates to come off a spawn. How do we want to try to break this? This is a hard point that we oftentimes see at the very end of a game. And a lot of moments where there has been some breaking opportunities. Cammy gets a bit aggressive. He eventually has to pay for it. So Surge still knocking. Røkkr not having to give them a reservation. Good work from Bance. He eventually falls. Back and forth we go, but still it's Minnesota with the time. Another lead change that's about to be inbound, and they've got it. 20 very valuable points still to fight for, and a rotation toward parking to think about. Great job here from Afro. A team kill actually that comes in from Bance. A little odd to say the least, but he at least has got the positioning to help give his teammates spawns for next.
Yeah, that's a full 60 hold for Minnesota, and they win the rotation over towards the next. Bance just sneaking his way through back kitchen, takes down Pred, the one that was trying to influence that pinch. Cammy was also the guy who was here nice and early, takes down Simp. And now Minnesota with the controlled spawn towards the back. They lose their gunfight. Seattle, they find a break, at least for now.
45 points, a lot. When it comes down to the scoreline, what it could mean for Seattle, what a massive swing it could mean now for Røkkr. A big break, the final hard point of the first set of rotations. Let's step aside and see how Seattle Surge are sounding with a listen in.
Top dead, one more top. One's gonna go mid.
Bottom bed
One's gonna get shot from the back out there.
I'm bottom bed pinch.
I ran up
Middle, Bance.
I don't see him middle.
He's square, behind the circle is mid. Behind the circle's
running into our, I can't see him.
Behind the circle, there's a circle pointer.
They're hitting me at all. One shot at all.
I'm sitting in the corner and I
One shot. P4.
Bance is fucking up. I'm trying to play
Bance and Afro.
There's 2-0.
Okay, I spawn here. I'll pick up left.
One was on P4, Lamar.
One's square.
Carry, absolute Cammy.
Square, one shot, Bance.
Cammy went bread.
Right side square.
Cammy went bread.
Nice, Mack.
Cammy went bread, bro.
Okay.
The guy left's gonna go better.
Couches on me again. Right side big door.
Okay. I'm shot
I shot him at Carry. Carry him dead. Bance is big door. I think it's time.
Couches got me Afro. Couches Afro. We're missing Bance.
I'm trying to get couches.
Couches dead. We're missing his Bance.
Wrap left.
Top big door.
I'll kill Cat.
Top left cut.
Right side big door.
Dead.
Big door. Absolute big
What's
door.
Couches, I think?
Back in up.
Yeah,
Couches, Cammy, one old, okay?
Honda me.
Couches could go P4, one old.
I got the time dead. One player.
I got the guy. Top cat, no.
Okay,
Top left cut. Just standing there.
Big door.
Top left cut, bro.
I heard you.
On the block of time got me Bance. Because we got him twice.
One deep left. Top left cut. He just dropped on time. I got the guy. Last guy, no. Dylan.
Perfect. There's spawn in kitchen. I'm holding this.
I'm holding this. You can go. I'm holding back.
Okay.
His counter just came out.
Time dead.
He's one.
Back square.
Dead.
Back square Afro.
Somebody has to get time.
I will, don't worry.
One more there. Just play slow, Mack. Okay. I'll get time.
I got time.
And that Seattle Surge spitting hot fire in the comms. Just none of it led to any time off of Minnesota. They kept the better spawns towards Jacuzzi's side and soaked up a lot of that P1 time, which now gives them a 30-point lead going into this next hard point. You just have to hold strong. You have to win your gunfights. The first two going to Minnesota, but the spawns are still going to be here for Surge.
Yeah, can Røkkr finally break? That's the question to ask. Great cover fire coming in from the ARs right now from Seattle. One player, that's Røkkr in the back. He eventually gets found out, so
They cut them all down.
after the turn around, Seattle do what they need to. Everybody's starting to heat on up, going a bit of a spree, and I think it's like the 9th time that I've said it, Jay, but a lead change now toward the direction of Seattle. A slim advantage at that. There's a few members trying to make some plays on the outskirts as Røkkr ready and prepared for new.
Yeah, Røkkr have to back up towards kitchen because it was full 60 hold from Seattle in the first rotation of hard points. It could not break, so you have to be there early to at least allow yourself to get set up. Afro with the stun finds a 2-piece towards bottom bedroom. He just simply cannot be stopped, man. 24 and 15 with that SMG in hand. Minnesota, they win the rotation, but look at the spawn. They're coming in from the back, and Bance, he's read it perfectly.
They have no idea that Bance is here. Great trigger, just
the timing.
Oh, he just came around the corner. Accuracy doesn't eventually spot him. Great plays coming in from Bance. Røkkr, they find the lane through restaurant. Bance continues to win his fights. Seattle a bit scattered, a bit separate, as now they have to make their way through the freezer. Cammy, he's locking him down ice cold as you'd like from Minnesota. A great hold as Bance's play will pay off. Røkkr lead change now their direction. Bance eventually drops a big 1v1. Cammy versus accuracy, and Cam will take it. Good heavens. Back and forth we go as now we rotate toward bar.
And Minnesota, they have the numbers right here. They win the first gunfight onto Pred. They have bedroom control. Trophy systems are not going to help you when you're trying to throw those tacks out. Just have to try to get these kills if you are Minnesota. You know where they're spawning towards back spa. Just have to open up with one. Bance is going to invest that cruise missile. Tatch also finds one. The break might be in now.
Could be. Seattle's going to be aware of the streak. They're going to be aware of the close plays coming in from Afro. The tosses of utility come in as well. Seattle trying true, staying strong. Mack and Pred able to combine for a few. One player over at that desk. Pred's going to be aware of it. So many things, so little time. Røkkr rush on forward. Of all the things that they have tossed, Seattle not able to hold on, and now Minnesota 15 away.
They can win the game here. Minnesota just have to hold strong. Seattle are not going to give this one up for free. You just have to at least trade efficiently, and that's going to be 3. That last player's accuracy. You have to take this player down, and you can close it out right now.
Oh, great plays again coming in from Bance. Cammy's watching the cross. Seattle, they keep lining up, but they've at least guaranteed
rotate now.
Another hard point.
Oh,
big 1v1. Attach is able to take it with 1 HP, and that should be it. Røkkr close it out in 4, and it's off the back of a round 11 search and destroy and 2 hard points versus coming into this series the #1 record hardpoint team in Seattle. What a game and what a result as Røkkr guarantee themselves winners at Major II.
And now if you are Seattle Surge, your S&D woes continue in this series, and now you have to go into a major, starting off in the losers bracket. It's so damn tough, man, because they're one of the best respawn teams that we have in the game. But when you're not winning Search and Destroys, you're definitely not going to win any championships. As they fall short in that one 6-5, you win the control clean, but Minnesota just had the playmaking today. Winning spawn after spawn, the SMGs made the plays, and Minnesota quiet all the doubters and are going into that major with a nice 3-1 victory over Seattle.
Gotcha. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, as you take a look at the maps and modes, like the Mercado was perfection. The Embassy Search Destroy, there was definitely a few issues on it, but they ended up making a very nice early advantage to kick it off. Hotel Control, we'll forget about that one, but I think the story of this series, my friend, is the fact that Minnesota just won 2 hard points. That's a very good sign. I know Seattle's record is not great, but they're one of the best hard point teams in the game. Minnesota, that was our worry coming into the series, was the hard points. They now win 2. How much, I guess, does that make you feel better about Røkkr going into the Boston Major?
I feel great about Røkkr now, because if they're Search and Destroy, they're not getting first blooded, they're going to find some success. You're winning hard points, even better. So just can't wait to see what they do at the major.
Without a doubt, it's going to be a blast of a time. Minnesota guarantee winners. Seattle will be in the elimination bracket come Boston time. That's going to do it for myself and Jay as we now toss it over to the desk. Puckett, take it away.
Thank you, Papas. Let's get into this one as we revisit the series. It was a quick one. It could have been 3-0. Instead, it's 3-1 with the hard points going to Minnesota. And as Lando said, you're playing against the Surge that is 17-9 on that game mode. So for me, very impressive Røkkr victory. And you saw this one coming. Let's revisit some of the moments here in game 4. Who are the star players for you today? If you're looking to shine a light on some of the studs that could go off in Boston, who are we looking at?
It's Afro and Bance 100%. We saw Afro have an amazing performance throughout both of the hard points in this series. And then Bance as well, man. Situation like he's switching up guns. We saw him pull out an AR on that rotation towards Kitchen Hill. Picks up a big 2-piece in the back. Fred knows where he's at, but he still anticipates that kill and finds it. For the Minnesota Røkkr here, like, this is just a great display of the improvements that they've made, and also for Seattle Surge, this is what happens when Pred and Simp aren't going God mode. Simply put, if these guys don't turn up and go God mode, they are not winning series. And this is just stressful, man, if you're a Surge fan.
Stressful indeed. I mean, I will say, though, I really liked that first map out of the Minnesota Røkkr, that Mercado, that we haven't seen them played yet. And it wasn't because other teams were banning it against him. It was actually more so they usually auto-vetoed it. So to see them come out in the way that they did at the beginning of the series was really impressive by the Minnesota Røkkr. They were out-rotating the Seattle Surge. They were holding incredibly well. And that's what we saw the scoreline of 250 to 121. So I'm hoping to see that more often in their map pools.
And you look across the board here, 6-5. That was a round 11 search. That is going to be one that Seattle is going to be kicking for themselves on. Not clutch is a great way to describe Surge when it comes to the S&Ds they need to win. Minnesota Røkkr, though, I think you nailed it. That Mercado, they shocked us all with how strong they were looking. And one guy who is looking strong across the board in all game modes is our man Afro. He joins us live right now. Afro, congratulations on that win with the W, the 3-1. You're now locked into a top 6 seed entering Boston. What are your thoughts on entering your second major of the season?
More confident than the first time. I feel like our hard points got a lot better. Our S&D, obviously we're 5-3 up. They went to a 5-5, but it's nice to see that we have ice going into round 11. So yeah, things are looking good.
2.33 in Search and Destroy today. It just looked like you were finding every kill you wanted. What was good about that game? Was it the communication? Was it just your confidence? What was working for you?
A bit of both, but honestly, I think our comms today have been on point. Like, if you had to listen for the Mercado, our comms were literally unreal, and I couldn't be more proud.
Afro, congratulations on a really big win heading into Boston. And I have to say, at least for me, statistically wise, this has put you in the conversation for me as one of the best SMGs in this game. And I wanted to ask you what that's been like for you in this game. If you just feel more comfortable, is it your team? Is it the environment? What has made you such a solid and consistent player this year?
Honestly, I think it's the team. I think the team helped me set up just for greatness, and I can't thank him enough. So yeah, that's all the team. That's all the team.
Afro, who's the jack dude in the back giving fist bumps?
That's Dill. He's buff. He's buff. That's Dylan. That's Dylan attached. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Afro, I wanted to ask you, it seems like you're on the map, you're making plays. It seems like you have more freedom on the map now in this series as opposed to the last couple. Was that a discussion you guys had, or you just went out there today and you're like, I'm doing what I want?
It wasn't really a discussion. I think, honestly, the last few games I've been kind of off my game. I don't know why. Hardpoint especially, I think my hardpoint's kind of been iffy. But this last week, I've been working hard on hardpoint, so that's one of the reasons why I think today you saw me free on the map.
Yeah.
We don't know where you're going to shake out amongst the top 6 if you end up with a 2nd seed. Who do you feel you would match up well against? Like, what teams would you want to draw for an opening round?
I want revenge against LAG. That's what I want. I want revenge against LAG.
I love it. I love calling him out. Afro, best of luck. Can't wait to see you in Boston, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Afro, and I hope he sticks around because it's time to show his scuff play of the game. iLLeY, let's walk the fans at home through this one. The man, he was crushing it.
This is probably, honestly, this play right here, laying down this game is just so difficult to read. But Afro, I mean, the amount of 1v1 clutches he had and the amount of 2-pieces throughout this series that got them out of sticky situations, I mean, just solidifies what kind of player he is. And it's across all game modes, right? Like in this search and destroy, he was the guy on the mission. He was the guy clutching. He was the one in the 1v1s and the 1v2s and solidifying the round. So big plays out of Afro, and I'm really excited to see Minnesota Røkkr at Boston.
Yeah, that round 11 where he jumps into orange and guns Mack on the stairs, just like ridiculous. Like, how does he get those kills? The guy surprises me every time.
Clutch plays. That is Minnesota with our first W on the day. And remember, you can support Minnesota. We've got the Call of Duty gear all over the place on CallOfDutyLeague.com. Pick up the brand new hoodie, support your squad, pick up whatever gear you want, and wear it to Boston next week. And of course, if you can't make it out in person, you can still rep your squad in game. The team packs are live. iLLeY, which one are you wearing recently?
Recently I've been wearing this Toronto Ultra, but I think I want to try rocking the Minnesota Røkkr one now. That blue's kind of popping out.
I'm liking it. Bottom left for us here. Before we go to break, here's a quick update on our standings. Shout out to the graphics team today. Toronto Ultra, they're done. They're sitting at the top spot 4-1. And now you can see as the Røkkr lock up a top 6 position right behind the Subliners currently. And we'll find out if anyone's going to be able to rise up and catch them. I don't think so. It's looking good so far. Our next match, though, is a big one for Boston. Can they steal the #1 seed? They could do it with a 3-0, but they got to get past the LA Thieves. That's on the other side of this commercial break.